Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Motor House for the start of the painting for the 7 chassis. And do you see much? Well, you probably might see a little black here and there. So let me explain what I have been doing. Rust converter, because I want to get into the crevices that are between the outer skin and the rails. So I did take rust converter for any that I couldn't get to, just one of those just in case. And I brushed that in on both sides. Of course, first this thing was flipped upside down, and I did the top, so that everything would flow in. And then I waited a day, flipped the right side up, and then started on the bottom. I still want to take and put it on its side to help get that edge you see down there. I want to get in there. So it'll be on one side then the other and get that rust converter in there. It's an Eastwood product. Now I'm going to talk about a bunch of products. A lot of them are Eastwood. They're not sponsoring. They don't know anything about it. I'm choosing to use Eastwood products because they have a good selection. And I've had some luck with them in the past. And I think they'll work out for what I want to do. This is no endorsement of them. It's just what I'm using. So, other things in painting. Let's see. So let's come up front. This area here, that is, if we look on the other side, it's just basically where it's joined. 2 joints, that leaves a crevice in there because it's stitch welded, and that is where rust tends to hide. And I want to make sure I get it up in here. Same thing. You might see where I did that. Then I switched to the internal frame coating. So I did get in here, and let's see if I can get the light to come on, and maybe that'll help a little. Well, not really. 2 good coats in here, and also 2 good coats in this chassis bar, both sides. Now, this bar, basically, this works well. I think I've showed this before. This is nice because it just goes in. You can take it all the way to the bottom, and then as you spray, you pull it back up. Same thing this way, just to make sure you get both things. It puts out a lot of paint. It floods the area. That's what it's going to do. For the front, I use, let's see how well this comes up. All right, it's a metal piece of metal with the line taped to it, which allows me to get in, keep it straight, and it won't curl up as it goes in. And then I can spray in all directions. And let's see, because I put a bent handle on it, I could rotate it and do what I want to do. This is what I've chosen to do. It works for me. Now I can weld that blanking plate in. So that's coming up. Speaking of welding, all right. I like to do a lot of the welding all at one time. This piece still needs to go in the blast cabinet and get cleaned up. And if anybody remembers from early videos, if you were here, this goes on here. And then it allows the panel to be bolted, the closure panel here. But I need a weld-through primer. That's what I want, a weld-through primer, so that I can hit this top piece here and then weld this in position. And to get that in, basically, I take the blanking panels, bolt them on, and it aligns up this piece. It aligns up this piece, so I know it's in the right place. That's how I intend to do that. So I needed a weld through. I'm going to put that on real soon. I wanted the Eastwood product. Try that out. I've never used it. And they didn't have any stock. No stock till April. So what I'm going to try is Pour 15's weld-through primer. That's what I'm going to try. So, all right. Products using. Rust converter. Works well. Internal frame coating. Now, if you want to reuse your... Where'd it go here? If you want to reuse these over and over again, don't have to get this. Get something like it. This aerosol injected cleaner. You basically pump that into the cap, and it flushes out. It's acetone. That's all it really is acetone, and it just pressurizes and cleans out the tube, so you can reuse it over and over again, and it doesn't come up from paint. So that's how I make that work, and I've done that many times, and it works well. So the other thing I needed to do was to prep the back. I'll come around here. I needed to get a better cleaning. I had an initial cleaning, but I'm going to get a better cleaning on this. I switched over the larger Dremel tool that isn't Dremel, the non-Dremel tool. Okay, back to, I took its 90-degree connection off, put a straight on, put a 2-inch wire wheel, and then I was able to just lower it in and out all the way down and give it a really good cleaning. Now when I flip this chassis over, I will paint these with the internal frame coating, and it will just basically drip out whatever is excess, and I'll give that 2 shots. Welding wise, I gotta get some more welding done. Painting. Back to discussion of painting. Yeah, it is easy to paint on this this carrier here, but when I go to, we'll say, flip it over, it can cause it can mess the paint up while I'm trying to do that. So I am trying to figure out, let me step back here without stepping on something, trying to figure out how to rig it up, suspend it, so that I can paint it and, tilt it as needed. Probably not be able to flip it over so much, but access around it. So I'm contemplating. I've got that pick point, and that beam I put in is plenty strong enough to lift this chassis. I've already done it a couple of times. So if I was to, sorry for that, it's trying to figure itself out, focusing. Maybe that works. Yeah, it's just machine figuring itself out. If I put the pick point in the middle and then put 4 straps down to the chassis, then I could angle it different directions for painting as I'm doing it. I basically would just, I'm sorry, it's a mess in here. Yeah, it's a mess. I would just move the body to the other side over here and put this chassis in the middle. Yeah, I need to get I need a good cleanup in here. I really do. But that's the thing of just dropping everything and just walking away as needed. We've had some medical issues from my wife lately, which really has been drop everything and take care of that first. So another thing I realized is that I had never fixed this. It was a broken stud in there, and I hadn't gotten it out. So last night I finally drilled that out and tapped it, and so the last one's done. So I'm going to give you a tip on the tap. How's that for a tongue twister? Tip on the tap. See if we can. Let's go around here to the front and see if the light works better for it. The tap itself was never long enough. I was trying to find one with, we'll say, a deeper thread, because I was having, it would stop. It would stop before it goes all the way through. It would just kind of poke out, but wouldn't. clean the threads all the way, because they are threaded all the way. So I came up with the idea, since I couldn't find, since I couldn't find a longer tap, is I put this tap in the lathe, and I took a grinding stone, and I lowered this area right here, because you basically stop when you're trying to tap it. It's larger and thread stop, and you can't go any further. So I ended up reducing the diameter here, so this would continue to tap deeper in. So that's how I got them to do it. It's a tip for anyone who thinks they might need to tap deeper into a thread. If there's a better method out there, hey, go ahead. It's just what I came up with, thinking on the fly. So that is the start of painting. And I got to get the welding done. Probably also going to weld this in someone's previous, wasn't mine. Someone's, I think I was working, somebody trying to work on the exhaust and hit it with a grinder. I'll fix that. So, see that catch pan? See all the dark? When you flood the center section with that internal frame paint, and you want to continue making sure you get a really good coating, it would just come through, spill out, go down, hit the floor, and finally put a pan there to catch it on the second coat. Surprised me on the first coat, but in order to get this piece welded back on, I needed to get alignment, and I had to go through the sandblast cabinet, as I've said before. So I dug out the other two pieces and took them through the cabinet also to clean them up. And now that everything's clean, we get a really good look at the carnage from, we'll say, whatever mechanic touched it in California when they played with the exhaust. So, we've mentioned this cut on the frame, the chassis tube, and you can see where, yeah, they just took a grinder in and went too far. It kind of all matches up, doesn't it? This is all jagged, and yes, I've lost blood already from this thing. You can see it's just not really done well. Go out a little bit. It's just hacked and slashed. There is a remnant down here of an edge that was folded over and made a nice smooth trim, and of course wherever it was up here, it just got hacked out. So this is good for, let's say, alignment, and to get it so I can put this top piece on. But I really just wanted to mock it up, make sure everything was still working before I do some final things to this piece before it gets welded on. Of course, yeah, I did say I'm going to do that paint the weld through primer, and I used these all the way around because they do help make sure the panel is centered in each hole. So so that if there's any slop one way or the other, it did put everything in alignment. I definitely have to do something with this. Trim it up, make it look good. What I can do to the edge, I'll have to see. Can I maybe put some weld here and stop from cracking any further, and fill that in a little, but it will need some body and fender work, we'll say, to make it look good. And of course, you can also see where this cut right here and the cut in the chassis tube, yeah, they were getting a little bad. Yeah, hack and slash. That is who did this, hack and slash. But I'll do my best to get it looking better and put the car back to rights. I think I've also come up with another idea of how to suspend the chassis for painting. So I've got that beam, which I already showed you. So my thought is that if I put a long eye bolt through both of these on either side, and attach a adjustable strap, triangle pointing up to the top, that would give me the ability to adjust this way on it. And then if I take the back here, this is just an idea, I haven't done it yet, it's just one of those ideas. Run a rod, because I have a rod, run a rod through this to the other side, and suspend that. Put the carrier on the other end and suspend it on the carrier. It lets me get around the whole chassis. I can get underneath it, I can get around it, and I don't have to worry about the carrier getting in the way of painting. So that is my idea at the moment, although I can refine it, try to make it a little better. Yeah. All right. Just finished the second coat of weld through primer, and I will say these magnets work really well to keep the cover in place. And I did have to go down to, let's see, this is where the bottom of the panel is. You can see you can see where the edge of the panel is. So I had to paint at least to get enough of that, because it's going to be covered. Give it a good spray. So that step is now done. I have set everything up to weld this panel in, which I've been discussing and showing. So the two bolt-on panels are in position. Everything is lined up. The bolts for the wings are in, so that helps align that up. And then everything else is clamped in place, so I can weld the spot weld back, and the other little tack welds that were up top and the bottoms, and get that done. So that is ready. Next is actually fire up the welder and get to it. Excuse the messy workbench. Okay, so this is the blank off disc for the front box section, and I thought about holding it in with magnets. A good friend of mine says, hey, magnets really do mess with the welder. So it's like, okay, well, I'll come up with a different method. I'll just tack a nice bar across it so it keeps it sitting flush, and then I can tack it in place and finish welding it and then you break off that little bar. Another area that I needed to address, I haven't said too much about it. Let's see, this is this angle here, that it was loose. It was tacked in place and not finished welded, so it needed a little bit more cut out for the weld that's there, and need a little more alignment. You might see where it was drilled before to be welded, and it never really bit into this, so it was kind of flopping. So I pulled it off, did some adjustments, and then I will weld that in solid and take care of that. Just a caveat, I don't claim to be a fantastic welder. I don't weld often enough to stay proficient with it. And of course, I could do better. Oh, I could do so much better. But they're on. Grinding, gonna have to get some grinding done in order to make them look a little better, but they are on. So, after some grinding and cleanup, this is where I am finishing. It's not the finished product. Let's put it that way. It's not the finished product. I do want to get the little grinder on the Dremel and kind of do a little bit more to them, dress them up a little bit, but that's good. And dress this up just a little bit more, because the big grinder, you can get too aggressive with it, and that should smooth that out a little too. And over here, yeah, I think the little grinder on the Dremel, you can just, it is a little low here, but I think that'll work out. Yeah, and this will, the chassis will need another good cleaning down, rinse down, which is not a problem. It's easy to roll out there and spray it down. I still have lots of xylene, and we have. After spending some time with the Dremel and the little flapper, let's say the grinder and a flapper disc on the Dremel, I was able to do a lot better cleanup on these. So, and there it is. These are taken down a little more flush and smoothed off, and I think they will work out well. Comparing, this is a repair. Let's just really be straightforward about this is a repair. It will never be as perfect as it was when it was new. We look at the other side, and let's see, will it? Come on. And we'll see how a bunch of theirs were when this thing was new. So it's not, we'll say, too far off from the other side. I think after it's painted, it will look pretty good. So that's as far as I'm going to take this, other than some cleanup and painting, and we'll see what it looks like after some primer on everything. But there is a delay. There is a big delay in getting paint. It's out of my hands at the moment. My HVAC system sprung a leak last night. It's called a rector seal. Special push-in sealing 90-degree fitting for HVAC systems, and it sprung a leak. The seal just let loose last night. I heard it. I never checked it out. Bad. Shut it down. So until I get that fixed and get the system recharged, I don't have heat in this part of the garage, and that is critical, and very critical for painting, as people will know. So I'm going to end the video here. Thanks for watching, and till the next time. Might be a week or so till I get the heat fixed, and we'll go from there. But it's winter. Have a good day.